All right, it's working now. All right, so what is slant asymptote? Okay, so when you got to a certain stage that there is factoring, there's nothing you can factor. So this is probably the most, for some people, it's probably feel like this is the most intimidating part, but it's actually not as bad as people think. But we do have to, give it a try. Um, so for example, if I have f of x is equal to x squared minus 4x minus 5 all over x minus 3. Can I factor the top? Yes. Okay, so be x minus 5, x plus 1 over x minus 3. Is anything canceling? No. Okay. So there are two things happen here. Um, One is there's nothing can cancel, so there's no hole. So every time you check, you should factoring everything. Check if there's a hole. If it's a hole, then you can cancel out to make the equation simpler. You can get rid of, like, you thought that it's an asymptote, but it's not because it's a hole. So for example, if you have an extra x plus 2 and x plus 2 here, those will cancel out. There'll be a hole. So you'll graph this equation instead, and that's okay. Now, there's nothing you can do here except there is a one. It seems like there's a vertical asymptote at 3, but it's any other type of asymptote. There's one more asymptote, it's called slant. So slant asymptote is different. Slant asymptote, you cannot get it any other way except doing long division. So if you think about slant, you always think about long division. So I'm going to do a long division here. So that's why everything is always combined from before, and you cannot forget stuff. Hopefully you know how to do long division. I'm going to let you try it to do long division, see if you can do it correctly. So you still have to need a knowledge from before. What I'm going to do is go do it, and see if you guys get the same thing. I'm going to need x here, x squared minus 3x. Again, I draw a circle, says minus sign. That means this function subtract this function's 0. And this one is negative x minus 5. You guys get that? Negative 1, negative x plus 3, negative, sorry, it's negative 8. Hopefully you guys got negative 8 because this is negative. If you did it right, then what you're gonna do is highlight this part. This is your slant asymptote. No, you're kidding me.
Hi, good morning. Miss Ian. attention, please. There is no reason to be alarmed. This room was randomly selected to undergo a random screening of students and their belongings. The screening is being done to ensure a safe and secure environment for all students and staff. I know why you all started to think more, but I haven't said it. When requested, you will stand up and exit the room in an orderly manner and remain quiet in the hallway with your teacher. Please do not talk unless you are asked a question. If you have any weapons in your backpack or in your pockets, now is the time to notify the administration. As stated in the Code of Student Conduct, random searches may occur at any time and are not protected by safe harbor. At this time, please remove all objects from your pockets and place them inside your backpack. Pockets and backpack. Do not remove anything from your backpack. In your pockets, you can't reach the ends. Once you have done that, place your backpack on your chair, not your desk, but your chair. Once you have done that,
We got 37 days.
okay, there's one girl that said she has Tylenol and Advil.
Well, let's go to her to tell us.
I don't know one, I don't know none of this. Yeah, I mean, listen, do we need to go through all this?
You never know, one might be on purpose.
You never know.
I know them,
She told me she
You're gonna see some organized backpacks.
my calculators and
she
stuff.
has Tylenol and
I think you might be picking the wrong class.
pick them. They just,
Right.
I just got an email telling me at this during this period you gotta go to this class to do weapons screening.
Oh, I have a saxophone piece. Are we going through musical instruments too?
I mean, you can open the bag if you
Right.
really feel you need. Person has pancake syrup. A whole jar of pancake syrup.
This one's all packed as well.
Ish didn't show up again today.
No, and I had this all
Gabriel.
down.
Huh?
Ish didn't show up again today.
Oh,
Come on.
Yeah.
I think this child might be addicted to drugs.
She come on, break. Just did they talk to Morris about that person calling you about?
I spoke to her. She's still
Still what?
sounds like she wants to. She
She
said.
can't, I'm telling you, they're gonna tell her she can't.
She said if the
Like, you look like
SRO
a
is here, this is what she said. If the SRO is here, don't want to do it because she feels like they don't want to do it. She'll do it privately.
And and at that point, she needs to be removed from this school. I'm sorry, I hate to say it like that, but let's be real. You know what you signed up for. You know what this kid's disability is, and yet you trying to do something you can't. That's just like, I hate to say it, but that's just like the kid who beat that female teacher who's autistic. You can only do but so much to that kid. He's autistic.
She's saying her reasoning is she wants the parents to wake up and see.
See what? That they son has the same disability he's had all his life? That you think this the first time he's gonna hit somebody? He done hit us. Like the kid that's his disability.
So I don't know if she can actually do it, but that's when I had the conversation.
That's why I say some people need to just get the heck out of their social professional. They
Still adamant we're trying to press
Oh, y'all
charges.
did that.
That's the conversation I had with her yesterday. Yes.
We'll find herself embarrassed. I mean, you are the behavior specialist. That's what the role is. Is you deal with behavior problems.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Way to go.
What are you doing, Eversong? What are you doing?
It fell off the desk and this child's backpack was so neat. Oh.
That's what, and that gets me frustrated.
Poor child. Oh, if he didn't have so much in his backpack, he would have jumped off the thing.
What's up, man? We're done, Kelly.
Shoot, no.
I was gonna say, there's like 500 bags in here.
And they're all very full.
Find protractors, retainers.
And Altoids.
Yeah, stinky breath if you eat altoids. That stuff burns your mouth.
You know what I can't stand? The little things, the little flimsy, they're like a vinyl patch, they taste like soap. Yeah. Kid's mom packed him a good lunch.
Yeah, I came across a few of those.
That chick said she still gonna try to press charge.
We're gonna take it. We're gonna take that report. We're not taking it.
She said she'll call office.
And the officers go say you have to go back to the school resource office. That's what they are there for. And now you back to where you were.
Who's that situation?
Huh?
Who's that when you're talking about?
Lord, why you can't press charges on it?
Oh, yeah.
That's just like I was telling somebody I was reading about that
thing-
the autistic
That
boy
calculator.
that beat up that teacher because she took his
Nintendo
Nintendo
Switch.
Switch.
Yeah.
And he knocked her out.
Yeah, but
She can sue the schools or whatever, but she can't fight that.
Not
that
that,
charge
that
is not gonna be
manifest-
that was his coping mechanism.
He's
and
incompetent,
she-
right?
Well, that's
He's
the
incompetent to stand trial.
That's like taking Gage's fire alarm.
Right, he's incompetent to stand trial.
If you take that fire alarm from him, hey, listen, y'all in a world hurt.
Regardless of how you wanna look at it or whatever you wanna say, that he's incompetent.
That's, yeah,
That kid has no idea what he's doing.
that whole
And you
situation's
press charges,
frustrating,
what he
but
said.
Maybe we should get a supervisor involved.
Maybe supervisor who?
Let the supervisor tell him.
No, for me, I'm sorry, I feel like this. That just tells me you don't need to be here.
Did anybody come across the Tylenol here?
Yes, I did.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Cause you're the behavior specialist, so you should know what's going on with these kids. And you got close to him like they can't hit up in front of her before. It's beat the hell out, was it it that beat the hell out of me and you
What's
earlier
going
today?
on with this?
Yeah.
It's done hit me and Kelly in front of her. So do like Cohen do, run.
You all right with this?
yeah, that's,
As long as we know what it
that's a good point.
Mucinex. We got Mucinex and mints, so we know what they're going through right now. Vitamin C. Somebody's got a cold.
on the, if it's on the, that's, I did.
Oh, okay. So I've been double checking your search, just to make sure.
And then you don't know how to search nobody. That's what he's saying. She don't know what she's doing. And you saying that you go, hopefully this will make mom wake up. Mom ain't gonna wake up. This boy been doing
Oh,
this.
shit.
Then she can
You
remember.
can't even get mom.
He probably hit her.
You can't even get mom.
I took a call, we good. They put him on.
I got prescription meds. I don't even know what this is. Oh, Tom.
Man, his mother makes the brother come get him. The brother comes in here
Oh,
and
is that the
bear.
one that was there so long?
Tori will take these products
Maybe
off.
he and Victoria are running.
Nah, Tori's on the.
Oh,
And that's why. Love is gonna call, since this is Love's call, he's gonna call the supervisor and just let her know. Love said he told her that he would document it,
Uh-huh,
but he's not filing charges.
okay.
All right, so if she calls the road deputy, she's gonna look like an idiot, so.
Just letting you guys know, but that's the
What else we
conversation I
got?
had with her, she still said that she.
Yeah,
So from now, and I'm gonna say like this, the next time Ish does it, when he comes back,
tell her.
I'm telling her to get the hell out of here, move.
Yeah, tell her get out.
Cause you don't know how to handle it, you ain't no behavior specialist, you don't specialize in it.
She's looking for a lawsuit.
Yeah, I get you. They're gonna specializing in behavior stuff.
Miss
I
No-
hate people like that. That
Miss
kid
No
got
Problem,
this
can I
bill.
be excused from the Revenge of the Nerd reunion?
It's crazy, man. That's
So
And
Friday,
then you
don't-
got, so I called up, I'm just gonna call the supervisor now, and if I guess they gotta talk to Christie or
Boy,
whatever.
hit me and Kelly, and we just sit there like, we know that's a disability. It is what it is.
It was a waste 20 minutes of my life. Seriously. Of all the classroom, they checked this classroom. They could have checked like my 7 peer F5 student in there. It takes like 3 minutes, but they checked 37 kids. You cannot find nothing but calculator. Huh? Well, that's a way that they kind of do on purpose because they check the smart people, so they find nothing. So they don't want to they don't want to check and find out like 10 different weapons and like weeds and stuff like that. Well, yeah. All right. So here is the slant asymptote. If you look at here where I highlight this part is the slant asymptote. So what I will do, slant asymptote is I will just graph this function, but I'll graph it as a dotted line. So I go in.
There's a spider coming from the ceiling.
What?
It's right there.
Where?
There's a spider coming down from the ceiling.
It's okay. His name's Bob.
Oh, I see it.
On your left.
No spider.
Miskin Michael. Michael. Michael is
It's in your back.
Bro, not my food.
Michael's not messing around.
It's in my bag.
Robert's messing with you.
I land on his back.
Oh, is it? All right. So what we're gonna do? You got Michael out worried. All right. So you got what you're gonna do is you can graph that x minus 1. That's just a y equal to mx plus b, right? So that just means y-intercept is -1 and the slope is 1. So you're gonna draw a dotted line here, and you're gonna form a slant asymptote, and this is the asymptote. So you don't need to worry about remainder. A lot of people says, you know, should I worry about this? Don't worry about it. So if it's a slant asymptote, you just take the top divided by bottom. And now you have a slant asymptote as well as a vertical asymptote. Where's the vertical asymptote at? 3. So we draw at 3. Now, what you're gonna do is you're gonna find out where is the x-intercept and y-intercept. Where do you think the x-intercept at? 5 and what? Right, -1. So that's gonna give you here. This is a point, and -1 is right here. So in general, and you can also find the y-intercept. Where's the y-intercept? 5/3, right? 5/3 is right here. 5/3 is almost to 6/3, which is 2. So pretty much you can see the graph is gonna going in certain direction. I can find out how they behave at -3, so I can check before -3, so 2.9. So if I check limits as x approach 3 from the left, which is 2.9, which is going to give me a negative, because I plug in 2.9 for x minus 5. 2.9 is going to be positive, and 2.9 is going to give you negative, so it's going to give you a positive infinity. So this here is going to be positive infinity, so that means this side is going to go up. So the graph is going to go like this, and if you check the other side, it's going to go negative, so I'm not going to do that. So it's going to be like this. So your graph is going to be like this. Sometimes they can be in this region. Sometimes they can be in this region. And sometimes this x-intercept is right here, so you can find out it's in the outer region. Because it has to be over there. Yes?
Can you explain one more time when we, like, know, like, are you going to ask for the slant? I know we do long division, or...
No, I'm going to give you an equation. You're going to figure out whether there's slant or not. So the easiest way to think about it is when the situation has no horizontal asymptote, you should check, like if your final equation, let's say you cancel out all the factors, right? Always the first thing is find out all the whole that you can identify. If you can find out the whole, the remnant, which is leftover, the leftover equation has a numerator has a higher degree than denominator, which is, that's usually no horizontal asymptote. So if you know horizontal asymptote, you should check for slant asymptote. Does that make sense? So when you have numerator has a higher degree, so another way to think about it, slant asymptote only occur when numerator has a higher degree, which is have higher degrees. Okay, so when your numerator has a higher degree. So, for example, you see this x squared x You see the numerator is higher degree, automatic I will check for slant. Now sometimes you can have 2 degree higher. If you have 2 degree higher, then it's not gonna be an asymptote look like a straight line, it's gonna be like a parabola. Your asymptote is gonna look like a parabola. It's called 2nd degree asymptote, but we don't have to worry about that in this class. In this class, as far as I'm gonna teach, is a slant asymptote. Now let's check out the graph, see it's true. So x squared. So is everybody okay here? Okay, so I'm gonna let you want to practice this one. I'm gonna say, hey, no, I'm actually graph this one on the decimals. So x squared minus 4x minus 5, right? Is that right?
Mhm.
Divided by what?
Minus 3.
And if you see that x plus 1, oops, x minus 1. You see that there's an asymptote here. See that? I'm gonna highlight as a dotted line. That way you see that's asymptote. And they're very disciplined for us going toward the asymptote. You see that asymptote, they will almost touch each other, but it's not. Right? So do you see that asymptote from the left side and right side? You see that straight line is asymptote. You know, there's only one chance of that happening. That's not gonna intersect anything. Is that long division on the top. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna graph one to see if you can find out what is it, and you can try to graph the whole thing. Find x-intercept, y-intercept, and everything. But again, if you look at this, so Robert's asked good questions here. So he says, how do I know there was slant? So how would you tell me there was a slant here? Right? You see that degree is higher on the numerator? Because degree on the top is less than denominator, you cannot do long division. That's another thing you can tell too. So you should check all other information and check whether it is, all this. Now, yeah, try to graph this one. Is not factor is okay, but you still can do long division. You probably cannot find x-intercept here because it's not factorable on the top. But y-intercept should be able to find. Okay, let's find some information. 2x squared minus 5x plus 7. Since this is a long, the numerator is greater than the denominator. X minus 2. X, 2x. So it'd be 2x squared minus 4x, I think. Minus, this is 0. This is a negative x plus 7. Negative 1, right? Am I doing okay? Are you guys doing okay? So that's going to give you a negative x plus 2. And that's going to be negative. This is 0. This is 5. Because subtract 5. Again, I don't really care about this part. I care that 2x minus 1. So I will say 2x minus 1 is here. This is slope like this. Because it has slope of 2. Sorry, it's going to be like this. And then in the at 2, it's going to have this. And y-intercept is at negative 3.5. So it's roughly right here. Now, if you have this one single point, that's pretty good enough to know which region you're supposed to graph. You're supposed to graph into that small region. Does that make sense? So then, if you think about it, the graph is going to go toward this side. It's going to go toward the asymptote. And graph this side is going to go toward asymptote. At least, it's not going to cross asymptote because vertical asymptote is like the worst asymptote you can face. They will not cross. Now, I don't think you can cross slant either. I never seen an example that the equation cross the slant asymptote. But I could be wrong, but I never seen one. It's probably possible to come up with one, but I don't know. So the other side is probably something around here. Now, if you are not sure the graphs over there, you can plug in something greater than 2.1 and then see if that's positive. More likely it's positive, even though this is kind of harder to plug in. So 2 times 2.1 squared minus 5 times 2.1 plus 7. So this has to equal to 4. 4 times 2 is 8. But it's greater than 8. So it's probably like 8.3, something like that. Minus like, I don't know, 8 point something. Probably bigger, but you could probably have to need a calculator to plug in that information. So, but yeah, eventually let's say 10.5 plus 7. I don't think it's probably greater than 8.3. Somebody have calculated, type in 2.1 times 2.1 times 2. So it's not factorable. I'm going to give you something that's factorable so we can plug in the factor form. It's easier to find out the value. But more likely your graph is going to be something like this along the line. Because you have some y-intercept, that should be enough to find out which region it's going to graph. It's also understand you can graph into the region, but long as you find out what the behavior is. But this one's kind of hard to find. Okay. So let me see if I can give you another one. X squared plus 1 plus x minus 6 over x minus 3. This one's effectable. So this one's better. People were always scared of slant asymptote. It's nothing scary. It's actually pretty easy to graph. Yes.
Would we ever have to use like placeholders?
Yeah, you should always pay attention to placeholder, but this test I'm not gonna really focus on giving question with the placeholder in there, but you should still always worry about all kind of things. Technically, those things that you're supposed to inherit to worry about, but I don't want you worry about too much thing going on. So probably not this particular test. But as a math student, you should pay attention to every detail. You cannot just say, okay, you go to the next section, you don't even worry about the section before. As far as placeholder for the long division, because usually 1 degree is different, so it's gonna be like 2x plus 1 or x minus 1, something like that along the line. So there's no placeholder to be worried about. Or sometimes it just being just x. There was a slant asymptote at x. That's a very, very obvious, easy one, right? So far as right now, like, I'm gonna talk about gray for a second. First, right now, I don't see anybody I will give you grade worse than a C. The lowest grade I will give it is a C, just because I see all you guys putting effort. So one is so that's why I was telling Robert, I was like, I will help his grade long as you show me the right projection, and can be higher as well. Now, also at end of the year, if you pass your exam with a certain grade, I will also modify your grade following year. So I want you to keep the right trajectory. I don't care about how bad you are in math. I only care about you going toward the right directions. So ideally, in this class, it's very easy to get a C. It's not too hard to get a B, because if you do good on a test, you do excellent on a test, you can get an A. But if you do just decent on your class, because I also put in homework grade, I couldn't before, now you're doing your homework, now I can put in a homework grade that can help you. So the only thing I'm asking for is just put in your homework, because my test is very similar to homework. You should get better result if you understand all your homework. Now, when some people doing the homework, please check your answer. For example, Jayla, you need to check your graph. You cannot just do things like, I'm not checking my answer, I done it. You cannot just do the homework and without checking it. Okay? All you guys, I'm gonna anticipate you guys go into calculus, okay. If you go into right trajectory. Right trajectory is just getting better each day. I'm not worried about how low you come in. Some of you guys didn't know how to add fraction beginning of the year, but now you can do that pretty easily. You cannot factor before, now you can factor. I will take this group of class. I'll pretty much able to take every single student going to calculus, if you want it to work. There are certain individual, probably 4 or 5 of you guys, probably a little bit questionable, but we're gonna work on that to get better. So, Robert, I would say it's a good job, right? What you getting?
Huh?
What you want?
I'm 68 right now, and I was wondering, like, am I in good shape to bring it?
Yeah, but you need to come to tutoring.
Okay.
I don't see you on tutoring anymore.
Well, it's because right now I'm not really confused. I've been doing like I do the homework every night, and I've been.
Well, you put in mine. I'm also gonna put homework grade in there. That's gonna be 100, and then that's gonna bump your grade up because you always do your homework.
And I did well on the last test. It was just 2 tests ago. Yeah.
Come back and try to get better.
I will.
I'm in during B1.
You can come in anytime. My door is always open, but I prefer because you got a lot of things to catch up though. I will probably come at B lunch and after school if I were you. Yeah, of course. My B lunch is has very cool people in there. So, Jalen, check your answer. Check your graph. The idea if you're grabbing something is to go back to see your matching. But if you don't check, you don't know what you did wrong. And you have to type in the asymptotes and stuff like that. Okay? Type in the asymptotes. See if are they going toward the asymptote. You gotta do a better job on that. You're a good student. You have bad result on test. The reasons you don't go check what's wrong with it, and you don't pay attention on your notes. Oh, we are live streaming, are we? Okay, it will be applying to everybody. You know what I'm saying? So you're doing good. You just need to focus on say, hey, I need to understand my notes before I leave. After that, you need to do homework, try to understand as much as you can. And after that, you have to check your answer. So it's a certain routine to be a good math student. And you are getting there. I believe you'll be there.